Monica here. So I'm going to do a quick little video for you guys. I have no idea how the lighting is. I'm trying to set up a little film space where I can just go to do like quick videos and I don't have to worry about trying to set up lights and all that stuff. So anyways, bear with me. But anyways, this video is going to be about the news that I received from my last doctor's appointment. If you watch my daily vlogs, then you know a couple of weeks ago I went to a doctor's appointment and I did not receive very good news. I'm not going to go into everything that we went over in the appointment. I'm just going to kind of go over, I guess, what you need to know really. And this video is mainly just to tell you guys what happened and to motivate you if you are in the same condition that I am in. And I want to just put out there, in no way, shape, or form am I saying that what I have is anything horrible or bad or life-threatening, such as like cancer or something like that. So it's nothing like that. I wasn't even going to put on makeup to film this video because I felt like if somebody else was in the same position, they would feel bad and they would be like, well, I have that and I can't even pull myself together to put on my makeup. So I kind of did my quick little like around the house type makeup, which is just mainly concealer and a little bit of like blush, and I did put some eyebrow stuff on so I looked like I had eyebrows, a little bit of mascara and some chapstick. So yeah. So anyways, back to this video. Okay, a couple of weeks ago, like I said, if you watch my daily vlogs, I went to the doctor. Well, we'll kind of recap what happened there. So after I got out of the car, after talking to you guys, I went in there and I sat in the little waiting room for a little while. I immediately wanted to burst into tears. I was scared. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was texting Dale, my husband, and telling him that I felt like I wanted to cry. I didn't want to go in there. I wish he was there with me and I didn't have to go by myself. Well, anyways, so they call me back there. They take my weight, my blood pressure, and all that stuff. I'd lost a little bit of weight, so I'm like, oh yeah, great, that's cool. I went from like 150 to 143, so clean eating, guys, okay? That's what I've been doing, and like walking and little exercise. And when I say little, I mean like squatting and yeah. So I have yet to kind of perfect that whole routine down, but I'll get to that. Patience, okay, patience, because to me when I was walking, I was kind of like, I just want to be, you know, skinny, and I want to be, you know, smaller than what I am, and just I want it so bad so quickly, and you have to be really patient at that. So anyways, I was like, okay, that's great. So I went and I took a urine sample, and of course somebody's texting me, and it's Dale. Okay, so anyways, I went and I took a urine sample. And the girl, she asked me, she's like, okay, so, you know, before that she said you're here because you haven't had a period and all the home pregnancy tests and etc. were negative, and oh, that's, we kind of like did a little recap of like why I was there. So I was like, yeah, you know, they're all negative and I'm not sure what's going on. And if you watch my vlogs, you know, and you've heard me talk about many of times and watched me struggle with having it, the endometriosis. And in case you guys don't know what that is, I'll kind of give you like a little, I don't know, a little brief description. It's where endometrial cells grow outside of the uterus. So for me, I have it on my uterus, my ovaries, my bladder, and my bowels. And that's the only place that we know of right now that I have it. It could even spread to your brain. I have a friend that she actually had some on the brain, and she had to have surgery, but anyways, so if you guys have watched the vlog, like I said, you've seen me struggle many a days with this. There's days where I'm just up, I'm down, I can't do anything, I don't feel good, I'm depressed, I mean, just anything and everything. I mean, now I went and wrote notes down for everything so I wouldn't forget anything. But anyways, I'm going to kind of like briefly explain to you. I was diagnosed back in 2006. It was about 3 months after I had the twins. I was given the okay, of course, by the doctor to, and this is a little TMI, but I was given the okay to start being intimate with my husband. Well, I noticed the first few times it hurt, and I thought, okay, well, you just had 2 children, you got to get back into the swing of things, you know, I mean, so I kind of let it go, and then it just got to where it hurt, and it would bring me to tears. And it wasn't anything that he was doing on his part you know, I mean, we tried many different methods, you know, I mean, so I finally went back to the doctor and I was like, you know, it hurts. And we kind of went over some other little symptoms and everything, and he said, well, you know, from what you're telling me, this is what I think you might have, but I'm not sure unless we go and we do surgery. And he said, I'm pretty sure that this is what you have, because me being at that age, I was 17, okay, I was like, I don't want to have surgery. In my mind, all I was thinking about was, oh, I'm going to have scars, this is going to be bad, you know. And, of course, because I had twins, I was really, like, self-conscious about my body. I was like, oh, you know, what is my husband going to think? It's like, oh, you had 2 kids. Oh, you're a fat cow. That was, you know, my mindset at that time. Now I'm kind of, like, over that. But, you know, at that time, it was just really, you know, crazy and young, immature stuff. So, anyways, he told me, he said, I'd like to do, you know, surgery and see if that is what you have. So, I okayed the surgery, and I had laparoscopic surgery. So he went in and he took out some of the endometriosis. He also took out some cysts that I had, and I was diagnosed then with that. I've already showed you guys where I have it and stuff. I have it on my fallopian tubes as well. Let's see. Sometimes some of the symptoms that go along with it, and if you watch sometimes on my vlogs, some of them I don't mention, and some of them I do freely talk about. But some of them that I have is like, one time I'm constipated, the next time I have diarrhea. I know, totally TMI, but this is one of those videos that if you were in the same situation or you think you might have it, that this would be really helpful and educational to you. So, and then when I would have cramps, sometimes I would get up in the middle of the night and I would have to go to the bathroom, and the cramps would be so bad, it felt like someone is just stabbing me repeatedly over and over in my abdomen. And I would feel like, okay, well, I have to go to the bathroom, like I know I have to go. So I would sit there sometimes for hours on end. Sometimes it would be so bad I would have to roll a towel up on the sink and sit like this until I would finally go. Because I would get up and then I'd start cramping and I'd have to run back and sit down. So it was really, really, really crazy. But anyway, so that is some of the bad stuff that goes along with it. Sometimes it does hurt when you have intercourse. Sometimes it's just really uncomfortable. It doesn't matter which position, you know, soft, hard, you know, up, down, whatever. It does hurt sometimes. And I do find that you have to be more in the mood, which is kind of hard, especially when you have this because your hormones are just all over. You do have to be more in the mood to have intercourse than you think. You know, it's kind of, it's not like, oh, well, you know, you can do it and whatever, let him do his stuff, and it's just you're trying to be nice. If you're not really so much in the mood, it can hurt you a lot more than what you think. So, the next one is I do have really heavy periods. I mean, like, really heavy. I did start using tampons at a young age. I do not recommend that. I started when I was about, my period actually started when I was 7. Really, really early. But I started actually using tampons when I was 11. That is not a good idea. I would not recommend using tampons if you are under 16. I would not. So, I did have really heavy periods and a lot of pain and stuff, and during that time, my stomach would get messed up, and just, one day I'd be, like, really, really energetic, and the next, like, few days, I was just, like, I just want to sleep. So, body aches, I do have a lot of body aches, like, every day, all day. I'm tired every day, all day. I wake up tired. I go to bed tired. I'm just tired. I easily get tired. It doesn't matter if I've had a very busy day or if I've had a day doing nothing. I'm just tired all the time. I get depressed really easy. I have mood swings sometimes. I'm like up here. Sometimes I'm down here. It's just, you know, kind of wishy-washy. I've tried many different medications for it. Some work, some don't. I feel that none of them have worked the way that I want them. They've kind of like worsened the symptoms, so I do not take them. I do bloat a lot. Some days I feel a lot more bloated than others. Sometimes I do want to throw up. Sometimes I get like really nauseous and I just want to vomit, and luckily I don't. Anyway, so that's kind of what goes along with like the endometriosis, and there's a few other little things in there, but that's the main thing that goes on with the endometriosis. So back to my doctor's appointment. So I was, after I took the urine test and everything, I was waiting in the waiting room for like 30 minutes. And I was like, what is the deal? Like, I seen 2 women that were there after me, like, come and go, and I'm like, what is the deal here? Like, why aren't they calling me? So anyways, I see the doctor walk by and a nurse walk by, and I hear her talking about him, and she's like, you know, what do you want me to do with her? And so they're like trying to calculate how old I am and stuff, and he's like 24, then 25, okay, so she's 26, and so they're kind of like, you know, just briefly going back and forth, and she's like, well, what do you want me to do with her? And he's like, well, set her up in the ultrasound room, and we're going to do an ultrasound. Well, at that point, I was kind of like excited and scared at the same time. And so they bring me to the ultrasound room, and she tells me, you know, like from the waist down, we're going to do a vaginal ultrasound, which I hate those, but unfortunately, you have to do them sometimes. So anyway, she, you know, she leaves me, and I put on my little paper gown little thing around me, and I sit there. And at that point in time, I just start kind of panicking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I start praying. I'm like, dear Lord, if there's a baby in there, like, please let everything be okay, because I haven't been taking my vitamins. I've been, you know, like, cutting down on my eating. I've been walking. I've been exercising. You know, I haven't been doing the things that I normally would do when I'm pregnant. You know, when I'm pregnant, I take things very easy. I try not to get upset. I try not to run. I mean, like, you name it. I take a lot better care of myself when I'm pregnant than normally, which, yeah, I think most women do. So anyways, I'm just praying, and I'm like, please, if there's a child in there, please let it be okay, let it be healthy, let it be growing right, you know, etc. Please let there be one, because I just don't know if I could do twins. But, anyways, so he comes in there, and we kind of briefly go over everything that I told the nurse, you know, why I'm here, period, negative, pregnancy test, you know, etc. So he said, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and do an ultrasound, and so we did the ultrasound, and he showed me on the screen, which at first I didn't know what it was, and I was kind of taken back when he told me. He said, you see all these little, like, splotches? And I was like, yeah, okay. And then he goes back to, like, looking. That's what he left it at. I was kind of like, okay. So he goes back, and so he's looking in my uterus, and he's, like, moving the wand, of course, up there and everything. He's like, okay, I don't see anything there. And so he jerks back real quick, and it kind of startled me, but he was like, wait, what is that? I was like, okay. And at first, like, for a split second, I mean, literally a split second, I was like, there's a baby. And there wasn't, obviously. So, I'm not pregnant, no baby, nothing like that. Long story short, he's showing me all of these cysts and all of these other things. He mentions that my uterus is extremely large, and he can see from, like, the thickness of it that, of course, I haven't had a menstrual cycle, and I'm not ovulating. And he goes along, like, down this long list of everything that he sees and etc. He diagnosed me with P.C.O.S. At that time, I'm like, okay, I've heard of that, but I'm not exactly 100% sure what this is. So, of course, you know, he talks to me a little bit in there and telling me about other things, asked me if me and my husband were still trying to conceive, and I told him, I said, well, we're not, like, really actively trying. Like, every time I ovulate, we're not like, woo, let's get this job done. We're kind of like, you know, when it happens, it happens. So I wouldn't say we were, like, actively trying. So that's what I told him. And so, anyways, we kind of go over some more things. And he was like, you know, are you sure that you want to try to have another child? And I was like, you know, yes. And yeah. So he finishes up there. We go and we meet in his office. Well, in his office, we go over some things. And he wants to put me on medication. He wants to put me on Provera, which is to help me start my menstrual cycle again and clean everything out. I wasn't too excited about that idea because, for one, I didn't want medication. For two, I'd just been hit with some bad news. Like I said, there's other things in there, but I'm not going to get into it. One of them was, I'm just going to kind of briefly just tell you, but one of them was that if something was to break open, there's something, I don't even know how to explain this to you guys. I don't even know how to explain it. If something was to go wrong, I could bleed to death. So, and he wouldn't recommend that I have more than one more child. So, I mean, I don't want, you know, like 20 kids or anything like that. I just want one more, hopefully. And if it's twins, then God give me twins for a reason. But, anyway, so he was just saying, I don't recommend you have more than one. You know, I'm going to give you this medicine, and I'm pretty sure that this will work for you and your husband, and blah, blah, blah. So, the Provera is to make me start my menstrual cycle and to clean everything out. And then he wants to give me Femora, which is like, it's a fertility drug. It's like Clomid. So that one they prescribe to cancer patients. So when he told me that, I was like, no, no, no. This is like when after I had the twins and like months, well, no, it was years before I had Brody. And that the doctor wanted to give me, you know, medicine that they give you cancer patients. So I was like, no, 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 no. I've been, you know, down this road before. I'm not going to do this. I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. Well, we talked about everything. He gave me the medication. Of course, I come home and I'm in tears when I'm picking up the baby. And I'm, you know, come home and Dale's here and I'm in tears. And I'm telling him about everything and the bad news and all of that. And I see that he gets upset by it, which sucks. Because I didn't expect him to get upset. But, we kind of just go over things, and it took me a couple of days to kind of really wrap my mind around everything that he told me. Not really so much the P.C.O.S, it's just the other stuff, the underlining issues. And then I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to take this medicine or not. You know, like, at that time, like, I was praying to God. I was like, please just let my body do what it's supposed to do. I don't want to take this medicine. I'm just trying for one more child, hopefully that daughter that both of us want, that we feel like that is the missing link in our family. But know that I'm not going to put myself or my body at risk if I could die to have that other child. Many people have brought that up to me, and that's not the case. I'm not going to, like, go into something like knowing that I could, like, possibly die and leave my 4 children, you know, motherless. Not the case at all. You know, if I don't have another child, even if I do everything and I don't have another child, then it was obviously meant to be like that. I will have lots of daughter-in-laws and lots of grandkids. But anyway, so I went and I put in my prescription, and I told the girl, because I wasn't sure, I told Dale that I would like to try the Provera, which is supposed to, like, clean everything out, make my menstrual cycle start, and I would like to try to go from there for us to try to conceive on our own. So I put the femora on hold, and I went and I picked it up. Was it Tuesday? Oh no, it was Monday. It was Monday. Anyways, I picked it up on a Monday. Well, anyways, that Tuesday, which was the next day, I was going in to pay my car, and if you watch the video, I got rear-ended. Won't even get into that. Well, anyways, I went to Walmart, and as my older son, Preston, was going to the bathroom, I felt a little funny in the lower area, and so I was like, no, can't be. Next day, Dale comes home early from work. I'm in the bathroom, and I'm bleeding. My menstrual cycle started. So I'm not saying, but I choose to believe, because I was praying to God a lot about it, and I was like, you know, I'm leaving it in His hands. There's nothing that I can really do about it. I could do everything the doctor tells me, and it's still not work right. It's still not come out the way that I want it to. So I said, you know, God, I'm leaving it in your hands. I'm done with the sleepless nights. I'm tired of worrying about it. I'm over it. You know, if this is the way it's got to be, it's got to be. You know, and so I went, and like I said, I got the medicine. I did not take the medicine, and the next day, my menstrual cycle started. So I like to believe, and I'm choosing to believe, that God is helping. My camera cut off. Anyways, so I'm choosing to believe that God He's helping us with this, because He knew that I didn't want to take the medication. Dale knew I didn't want to take the medication, but I'm choosing to believe that God is, of course, playing a hand in this, and He is helping us with this big decision. You know, because there was a lot of things going on, you know, at the time, and I did kind of find it funny, but not really funny. I was like, yeah, I get rear-ended, and then the next day I'm like bleeding, like. And then at first I wasn't even really exactly sure if it was my period. I was like, okay. And then the more it kind of went along and everything, I was like, okay. And then I seen, which I know totally, like, really TMI. This is like a TMI video, guys. There was like little clots and stuff coming out, and I use pads. Okay, that's one thing that I do want to tell you, that if you do have endometriosis, or even if you are a lady and you find that you have some of the same symptoms, when I would use tampons, I would get upset stomach really, really bad. And I would have a lot more cramping. And yes, the tampons helped, so your flow wasn't as heavy, like, out. But let me tell you, after I stopped using tampons, things got a lot easier, a lot better. For some reason, I didn't have the upset stomach anymore, even at that time of the month. Like, I just had my time of the month. Everything was a-okay with it. I didn't have as bad cramping. You know, I mean, everything has, now I don't want to say magically, but everything has subsided since I stopped using tampons and I've started using the magnesium. That is what I take. My friend Lee, which has endometriosis, she's the one that had it on the brain. She told me about magnesium, and I started taking it, and it is, I mean, seriously, it has done wonders for me. So, if you are having those issues while you're on your period, maybe try just not using tampons. You know, I'm not saying that using tampons has caused this, but you kind of sort of got to think about it. You know, you're using tampons, and of course it's up in there. Your menstrual flow cannot release fully because there is something stopping it. So, I mean, I hope you guys kind of sort of like get the idea. But since I've like just started using pads, my flow is able to come out, and everything that needs to come out comes out, instead of a tampon, which kind of blocks stuff that needs to come out, and so therefore it kind of just sits up there, and I mean, where's it gonna go? Yeah. So, anyways, I'm choosing to believe that God has played a role in this, and you know, I choose to believe that prayer does work, because I've prayed many a times, and it's definitely worked for me and my family. But anyways, so I really don't know what else to say about it. I'm still learning about P.C.O.S. I'm looking into vitamins to help with that, because, you know, if you watch my daily vlogs, a lot of the stuff that I was mentioning, like, if you watch one on where I was mentioning that I noticed that my hair above, like, my lip is getting darker, and I was saying that my hair is, like, falling out more, and then, I don't know if I mentioned it in the vlog, but I know I mentioned it to Dale about my back has been broke out a lot. But there's a lot of things that was, like, going on. And if you read about P.C.O.S, that's some of the symptoms. So I was telling Dale, I was like, whoa. And the doctor did tell me that this isn't, I mean, P.C.O.S isn't just like, I didn't develop it overnight. It was obviously something that has been growing, if not always been there, and I just never was diagnosed with it. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's not like I said, there's an underlining portion of it, but I'm leaving that because it's really between me and my husband, and yeah, I still don't know what all is gonna happen with that, but I feel like a magician over here. But anyways, we have decided to try to move forward with trying to conceive another child. Like I said, the doctor has given me the okay. We've talked about it. We're hoping to try towards the end of this year, beginning of next year, and we hope to actually try to conceive. If we don't, then obviously it was meant to be. I mean, I can't do anything about it. Like I said, I could take all that medicine and stuff, and it's still not work. But and if you have chosen to take the medicine, I mean, if you choose to, I don't think bad of you. I just like the medicine, like the femur was already going to make me feel bad, and it could cause like more hair loss, and you could be vomiting, and I mean, there's many side effects to it that I did not like. And that's why I don't take a lot of medicines, because I don't like the side effects. So to me, it was like, well, I'm already struggling with all of this, and this is going to, like, intensify it. Not a good idea for me. Just not. So that's why I was, you know, I was laying in bed, and honestly, I was praying to God, and I was just, it was probably like 3 in the morning, and I had to get up at 5, and I was like, you know what, Monica, there's nothing you can do about it. No matter how much you stress over it, no matter how much you worry, you want this, you know, you cannot change the fact. You cannot change that you have this. Best thing you can do is pray to God, hand it over to Him, and He will deal with it. You know, He has helped me through many of things. So, that's what I did. I pretty much just turned it over to Him, and I went to sleep. And even though I had to wake up, like, very shortly after that, I felt relieved. I felt relaxed. I felt better about the whole situation, and I carried on, you know, the rest of the week, I think, in pretty good spirits. So, and then of course Tuesday rear-ended. That didn't really help, but then again, it kind of did. It was weird how it all worked out, but I still have the medicine. I do not know if next month my body's going to have a menstrual cycle like it should or not. So I told Dale that if if I kind of go back to the way I was normally, I would like to at least give my body 2 to 3 menstrual cycles. Holy chalupa, battery died. Okay, seriously, that just burns my biscuits. But I like to try to give my body time to adjust, and if there's anything in there that needs to come out, and for us to try to do it on our own naturally instead of taking the medication route. Another thing with taking the Femora, which was the fertility drug, we were also worried because I conceived twins naturally. We were worried that it would increase our chances of conceiving multiples, and we really didn't want to take that chance because honestly we're really afraid that we would have more than 2. We're afraid that it could be like triplets, you know, or even more, and we know that we could not handle that. I mean, if God still chose to give us that, even if we do the natural route, I trust that He's going to give us a whole lot of patience and funding for that and help, because I don't think personally that we could do that by ourselves. You know, with the twins, the time that they were born, I did do most of it by myself. I did have family around, my mother-in-law and my cousin's mom, but that was it. I did most of it by myself, so therefore, like, when it comes to the other kids, I can handle things a lot easier than most. But anyways, this is turning into a really long vlog, but, well, video. If you guys have any other, like, questions or concerns or helpful advice or stories about your stuff, feel free to leave them below. If you don't want to leave them below, I also have an email. We can email back and forth. But I just wanted to kind of make this to let everybody know what happened, and if you are suffering from endometriosis or PCOS or infertility or whatever it might be, just know that you are not alone. So, yeah, but I guess I'm going to go ahead and go because my battery keeps dying. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.